I'm Jake, and welcome to the newest podcast on YouTube called Jake's Happy Nostalgia Show, where I interview people involved with kids shows and more from our childhoods. We'll be sharing our favorite memories, talk behind the scene moments, and so much more. I'm your host, Jake Deffinbaugh, and welcome to the Happy Nostalgia Show episode. Hi everyone, welcome to another episode of Jake's Happy Nostalgia Show. I'm your host, Jake, and a couple of my co-hosts with me for today, Chris Bixby and Wyatt McCullough. How are you both?
Good. Really good.
Really squawking to hear.
That last interview was amazing, by the way.
Yeah. So, since I already say about the last week's episode, well, of course I'm going to do it here. Last week episode that we have for Philip Wiltshire, the original fifth Wiggle for the Wiggles, that of course some of you guys know that Wyatt, Chris, me, and Matthew are big fans, and for having Philip on it was really sensational of what how long we are and how much that I'm so glad that people so much really still knows him. And even though he was only for the debut album, but people so much still knows him, which I'm super glad for. Anyway, so let's not talk about last week's episode. Let's talk about for this episode. Well, so for this guest that we're having is that he is a puppeteer, and he even back in 2002 he made this sound like a I don't know if it's called if it's like kind of like a group or something. You'll correct me later on.
Everybody does.
Yeah, true. And which he created back in 2002, which is called Bird Call. And next year that group that is going to be 20 years, which we will mention about later on too.
And it's on Instagram as well.
Yep.
Which that so much people knows, which of course three of us knows Bird Call. And
yeah, there's this special monster out there, Matt Bingle.
Oh yeah, who's one of the biggest fans of Bird Call. Who's a fan for 3.5 years, and which we'll talk about him later on as well. But anyways, here he is. He's Calvin Lester. How are you, Calvin?
Hello, I'm good. How are you guys?
Good.
We're good.
Thanks for asking.
Happy to have you on here.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for having me. I appreciate it. This is
You're
fun.
welcome. I've seen you on other podcasts like Puppeteer and stuff, so that's awesome.
Yeah. That was those guys. Good old Adam and Cam.
Yeah.
That's very awesome. I know you did have a good time on there too, to be honest. Especially that podcast is kind of like a puppeteer way podcast. So that's really nice for having you on, which is nice. The first question we'll start off is that how you got into puppeteer that you wanted to do, that what you pursued, then you just of course made Bird Call, and what inspiration for you being a puppeteer or Bird Call, whatever. How's that all that happened where you are now?
Before you do that, let me short the question. How did you get started?
And where you are now?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Just how I got into puppet. Well, it's funny. My story's so funny in the way of even going into this direction. I'd grown up, I grew up in a small town in West Virginia, and a coal mining town, and this is like early 90s and stuff. And you had sports, and so I would play football and basketball, do all the things. And then, but I also, I would sing, and we do school plays and stuff like that. And I thought I enjoy that,
Awesome.
I'm not getting my butt kicked and hit people on a field if I'm actually on a stage, all right? And that could just be funny, because that's combat, and so I did all that, and then I started to kind of get involved into studying psychology. So that's where I kind of thought I would go into that field, and more I kind of veered toward the entertainment side. And I was still kind of creating my own things growing up, and I really just thought maybe that's the path I'll go. And being a fan of the Muppets and just any sort of cartoon stuff that I was growing up, the Looney Tunes. I loved the Looney Tunes as a kid.
Yeah.
Amazing cartoon.
Yes.
Yeah. So
still going.
Yeah. So I enjoyed those growing up, and kind of pursued that path and into acting and singing and that kind of thing. And it just so happened that the Muppets were holding an audition back in 2005, and I had just got out of high school. I was going to college, and I met Kevin Clash and Jane Henson.
Wow.
Oh, nice.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and did the audition, and it was very much like there's a bunch of us there. Ryan Dillon was there actually, who ended up becoming Elmo.
Oh yeah.
And,
Wow, that's awesome.
Wow.
Hopefully we have them on in the future.
Yeah,
it's,
hopefully,
it's
yeah.
funny too.
Who knows?
It's such a small world. The guy who
Right.
plays Foul Owl in our show, Scott Hune, was at that same audition. So we didn't even know each other at the time. He had like this long beard, and he didn't even look like who he does now. So it was just this kind of great happen chance, and I got picked to do the workshop stuff and learn from them, and that's how I met Tyler Bunch. And so I had kind of created Bird Call as almost like a cartoon type series. And Tyler with Kevin Clash, they were actually the ones that was like, "You ever consider puppets?" And I said, maybe. I don't know if this whole puppet thing, is this going to be my job? Like, they pay you for this? Like, they actually pay you to play with the puppet? And that was the kind of the selling point, man. Like, wow, I can get paid to play okay. So I ended up leaving out of New York after doing some stuff with Sesame Street, and started working at Disney in Orlando. So I would
Awesome.
go back and forth and travel. So yeah, I've been with Disney coming up on 15 years now.
Congrats.
Thank you. Yeah.
Very awesome.
So yeah,
It's kind of funny.
Normal path, I think. I don't to say psychology into puppets, but
It's kind of cool that you mentioned West Virginia, because that's where I'm
oh, you're from West Virginia.
from.
What part of West Virginia are you from?
Morgantown.
Oh, so you're like up there with the you burn couches when you went
Yeah.
football. Yes. That's
Very awesome, Wyatt.
So you mentioned working for Disney in Orlando. Did you work with like the stage show, like the Playhouse Disney stage show that was there?
Yeah, Playhouse Disney on stage.
I did. I was there with Bear and Trilo and the whole game.
That is awesome.
That's
That's
cool.
awesome.
And then we
That's awesome,
switched
man.
it over, and then we had the Mickey Mouse Clubhouse, and so yeah. So I helped create those shows, like the performance wise, like I would perform in them. And same thing with like Great Moments in History with the Muppets here at Magic Kingdom. And my fiance Kelsey, one Brady lady, if you know her from TikTok as well, with her character Stan, she works with me as well. I actually trained her in puppets at Disney, which is funny. So we ended up,
That's funny.
it was just the match made in heaven at that point. So, but yeah.
That's
Yeah.
very awesome of what you are to like what you think about being a puppeteer, and then all for work with Disney Playhouse Disney off stage, because I remember watching them from YouTube, and it's very
Yeah.
special for me watching it.
And fun fact, since you were talking about Bear, when I was 3, I went to see like the Bear live show,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
for my 3rd birthday.
It was a cute. I mean, it's very special to all of us, like the ones that performed there.
Yeah.
And a
Mhm.
lot of those guys, I met and worked with, ended up doing Bird Call with me, and they still are. So it's it holds a special place to us. And I'm sure it does to you guys that grew up watching it. So I think that's what's so important about things like this, where you get to talk about it. So
Especially
Right.
Very Big Red House is such an amazing show, and I hope in the future that the show is going to be on Disney Plus.
Exactly.
So we're hoping.
And since you
Yes.
mentioned Playhouse Disney Live on stage, there was a YouTuber who started off at Disney, and now she's Miranda Sings on YouTube called Manager.
Colleen, yeah, I knew her
Yeah.
from Disneyland, yeah.
Yeah.
And it's funny
That's
because and now my fiance will watch her do her video blogs, and it's so funny hearing her in the other room. Like,
Yeah.
I remember you when you that voice at Disney.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. How does it start with the creation of Bird Call? How was all that about?
So it was 2002, and I was 15, and I would just draw a picture house, and again, we lived in West Virginia, so it was the mountains. It was very beautiful where I grew up, and I was very fortunate at that. And my grandmother was such a big advocate for me pushing my creativity and writing and going out there and just kind of going for it, you know. And that's always kind of been my personality, of just to think, well, I got to do it. If I want to do it, just go do it. Unless I, you know, if I don't, then I'm just going to sit here and let it pass me by. So I'd already created one little show that I kind of wanted to do. And then Bird Call kind of came from me sitting and sketching funny looking birds. And my grandmother had this like copper plate thing on the wall. I'll never forget it. And it was an owl. And then she had this like cookie jar that looked like a chicken. And I was just like looking around the room. I was like, all these birds in this house.
Oh my gosh.
I remember sitting there and I kind of wrote out a little paragraph about what they would do. And it's like, oh, they hang out in a birdhouse. Well, what do they do in the birdhouse? And then I remember I said like a TV station. And I went, no, it's more fun because they're vocal. The birds are very vocal. That's what you know them for, right? Like they're treating.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah. And so and so I remember sitting with my little brother and I said, what do you think of this? And he's like 5. So anything amused him at that point.
Right.
Like, yeah, that's great. So I remember that was kind of the way it propelled. Had those sketches for years, never really did anything with it until I went to New York, and I was in LaGuardia and happened to find the sketchbook. And I remember I was like, I should redraw these. And that's kind of how it just kind of snowballed after that.
That's cool.
That's cool.
I know Jakey hasn't mentioned this yet, but how did the musical come about? Because it's on YouTube and it's awesome. I've seen bits and pieces.
I know Matt Bingo has a CD.
Yeah, it's on
Yeah,
Spotify.
he has the playbill.
Yeah, it's on Spotify as well.
The musical came about. So the idea there was we had went to NBC maybe like 2007 or 8. Whenever I can't remember, the writer strike happened back then, and that caused shows to kind of get delayed and not happen. So we were going to pitch it and make it its thing, and we had connections at the time, which was great. So that all kind of fell through because of the writer strike, and I was able to kind of keep the rights to my show. What kind of came about was we discussed it with some people. We had done some live events, and people always really kind of reacted the way, you know, if you film something without a studio audience, you are cut off from that fourth wall. Whereas on a stage show, you have to get response, you know, of a laugh, an applause, you know, and it's you know, it's very fulfilling as an actor, but you also want to make sure that the jokes work and stuff like that. So what I did is I took the first 4 episodes of like season 1, that would be what we were going to do, and just put them together and strung them together with these songs to kind of help move the story along. And we tested it, and we had some people from the network watch it. Like Tyler Bunch was originally supposed to play Foul Al in our show.
Oh wow.
We kind of worked it together, and something happened where he couldn't. So the guy who was doing his right hand, Scott Hune, filled in for him because he knew the lines. He'd been with them the whole time, and so now Scott just kind of took it on. So Tyler, we just said, you're out. We're gonna kick you out now. No, Tyler actually narrates the show, so that's how we.
Oh wow,
that's
awesome.
Narrator's Tyler, yeah.
Oh.
But yeah, so that's
that
kind of about, yeah. That's where it came from. And then people wanted us to keep doing it, so we're like, of course.
Very awesome. I don't know why. It reminds me of where Tyler Bunchy said and narrates of the show. So it reminds me of him narrating Word World.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, that's right. He did that show.
Yeah.
And he did he did the dog, woof, and
Yeah, I did a ton of voices in that
and
show.
Duck.
and duck.
Oh yes.
Quack, quack, quack. What a good show.
Yes.
What Sesame Street
amazing.
was a like show that kind of inspired you for Bird Call, because Bird Call is kind of like included, that's basically characters of full-on birds.
Yes. Yeah. We have. I mean, there's like a cat that they have. There's I mean, we have humans, obviously. Yeah. But yeah, it's a mainstay of feathered fools, is what I call them.
There you go. You gotta call him something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's like for Bird Call for being 20 years next year.
It's funny because I didn't really put that together until like the fans started messaging us going, hey, you know, this is like years ago. They're like, this is like the 12th year of Bird Call. I'm like, shut up, what? That was nice. And that's the thing is I know for some people they're just discovering it, which is great, and we're happy to always get new people to come and be part of it. And then there's people who knew it from the musical, which was started in 2014 and on. So they think that's when it started. And that's, I'm not one to be like, let me correct you. It's actually, because it doesn't really, matter. As long as like you liked it, that's all that matters to us. That you,
Yeah.
So it's funny to think that 20 years ago that I created these characters and never thought, because I honestly didn't think it was going to go, or I was going to do anything with it. Is what I guess I should say, as I didn't really expect it to be propelled. Because back then the internet wasn't what it is now, so we have such a closer connection with fans, and that's kind of been cool to do that.
Yeah. What is with that how much difference that the Burke Hall was to point to now, and also where did Local Duckabird was a thing for Burke Hall and became like the main dog and
where did he originate from?
Yeah, we're still figuring that out, what he is, and it's from then. That's a great question. What it was and to now, I've always said this to the cast. I'm like, I'm almost happy that it didn't get picked up at the time, because the version we had was still in development, and then they would have had the more creative control to say, let's go this direction. So I think for us, we were almost grateful that it didn't happen, so we could expand on it. And we had a lot of recasting that happened just with availability of people, or we just didn't see this person in this character kind of thing. But with Luckle, it's kind of funny. He, I purposely, I wrote the show and I thought, oh, I'll puppeteer in it or something, or I'll play like a minor role and I'll just stay on the creative end. And I created Luckle as this wacky bird that was always in the booth, and Fallow couldn't stand him because you would see him in the booth, but you couldn't hear him because it's a soundproof booth. And he would just be in there squawking, but you wouldn't know what he's saying. And the ratings would be high, like everybody loved him. And then when he came out of the booth, he never spoke. He just made noise. And so they're supposed to be like, how's this guy doing so well?
Is it a good idea for having that character talk now?
And and what kind of happened was the group we had when we started with Bird Call, they were all kind of new to like doing TV puppet stuff. And I would have to step in and be like, oh, well, do this, this, and this. And, the monitor's flipped and your script's here and make sure you know this. And just
you're kind of like their mentor.
Yeah.
And it was kind of funny too, because these are people who had worked at Disney before me, but they'd only done stage stuff. So to kind of bring both those elements, they were like, oh, I'm not ready. So I just picked up Luckle as, oh, well, I'll just throw him in and I'll make him a little, like, he'll talk now. And then it kept happening, and then people were like, oh, I love him so much. And you're like, really? Like, okay. And we'd put him in another show, and then we put him in another show, and then it became, oh, he should be, kind of your figurehead, because that's the one people would, no pun intended, flock to. So there you go.
Right, yeah. And
Yeah.
now he's like one of the main guys.
Yeah. And I mean, I do enjoy playing him. I really do. I think there's such an essence of his reluctant leadership and just overall care of the other characters. He does have that through line in the musical where he learns about himself and kind of changes his mentality of like when fame gets to him, and how he kind of becomes Fallow in a weird way, and he learns that I gotta get a reality check and recheck myself. So yeah, he's fun to play. And I play Bingo
Awesome.
Flamingo, which is just
you played that character too.
Yeah.
What was that?
What was that like?
That one, he was supposed to just be. We had like a lineup of so you've heard of flamenco dancers. We're gonna have flamingo dancers. And there were 4 all planned,
Wow.
and we only built 1 to test it, and then I put it on and was being silly, and they're like, okay, that's it gets a little because we did just audio.
Need for more people who've run that.
And people were like, oh, this character is so funny. Oh, okay. And I thought he was going to be one and done, and then people would ask for him more, and I was like, okay, so I've got 2 very drastically different characters. So yeah, I do enjoy playing him though.
Very awesome.
And franchise is cool as well, by the way. I didn't mention that.
Yeah, Frances, that's Kelsey. She's It's kind of funny too, because Frances has always been considered Luckle's aunt per se, and they're not blood
The way
related.
she was.
Yeah, it's just kind of this funny thing. So it's funny to have my fiance playing Luckle's aunt to him. You're like,
Yeah.
I know this was the upcoming question, but I got into bird call from your Instagram too, and I was actually on one of your live streams, like commenting, and you actually answered my question or something.
oh, nice, good.
Yeah.
I always hope I do. I always feel so bad on those things because they'll come in so quick, and you're like, and you don't want to spend half the time doing this at the screen, like trying to read
Yeah.
comments. So,
Yeah, you get a lot of them.
Yeah. It's so crazy that really so many people for call just thinking just local, they thinking just local. That's how good character he really
Yeah.
is.
well, thank you. Yeah, I appreciate that.
Well, you're welcome. Well, speaking of what Wyatt said about how he got to Burkall, I'm thinking how I got into Burkall. It was either Matt Bingle or it's just something that I saw like Instagram. Okay, I know I saw them from Instagram or the YouTube. I don't know, probably both of those two. Or either Matt Bingle, and then I just like it so much. And I'm one of those people who have the video
Video message.
tweet
the first
message
one.
that which I picked Loco, and boom, Loco did.
Oh, nice. Oh, good. I'm glad. Oh, so you ordered one of our little the personal bird call things.
Yeah. I know. Matt has that too.
Okay.
Yeah,
for
it's
birthday.
Matt Bingle.
Mhm.
And those are always hopes. Those are difficult because you'll get just the name and kind of the information.
Name and then the whites like a white pitch of what you want your voice to be for the whole time. So it kind of be difficult sometimes.
And so you're
It's
just
kind of like sending a cameo to someone.
well, and it's funny. We just
True.
got put on to Cameo, so we'll be doing those soon. So that'll be
Ooh,
That's
very
awesome.
Very awesome.
Yeah.
So switch to like what Burkall was, and then to Cameo. That's very awesome. So Wyatt, since you said about how you got into Burkall and me, how you got into Burkall, Chris?
Well, yeah, like I said before, basically Jake and Wyatt got me into bird call, and I think it's funny. One of the first videos I saw was actually the one where Luckle gives like a tour of the place.
I remember one
Yeah.
of those videos.
That's
They
really
did
beautiful.
like did bloopers. I remember one of the bloopers. He said like, I don't know what Kava is doing, or something like that. What Luckle said.
Oh yeah, I saw that one too. Yeah, the bloopers, and those are funny.
Oh my
sometimes
gosh.
we step out of our element, I guess, and they just
Yeah,
they become too together, right? Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
Sometimes we're just, like either shooting stuff together, and then like pandemic wise, we were shooting stuff remotely. Like we did like the birds had to Zoom, but we made up their own. It was called like the at home homing pigeon app or something.
Oh,
like
is
that.
it it during the pandemic?
Yeah, during the pandemic.
Yeah.
And I remember it was difficult because we had the puppets at the our little office all set up, and so we had everything, but then we were like, we don't want to ship the puppets around, and then we had everybody send their vocals in, and me and Kelsey puppeteered every single frame, and we realized we're like, oh my god, there's 15 characters. So it was a lot,
I'm sorry to hear that.
right? But the funny thing is that we said, what else are we doing? We're just sitting at home. So
and then you guys did the story time videos too.
oh
yeah.
Yeah, like
Yeah, I
during
saw
the
that.
pandemic.
Videos, too.
Yeah.
Keep
Those
up for. It'd be interesting for them doing more. Really.
Yes.
yeah, people have asked, they're like, oh, you're gonna do more? I was like, I'd love to. There's no lockdown. They made me go back to work.
That's the part.
Yeah.
That's the part called. That's what it shows to go back to work. The 24/7.
Yeah, that was the point, to keep people entertained, like while
Very awesome. Fans was and keep doing this.
Oh,
Awesome. Okay, since we're talking about so much of Burkall, let's get to like Wyatt's to your questions, Wyatt. That I know you. So you tell me about it before, because you said something about Matt Bingle, about the anniversary or the Christmas show. That
What was it like being a part of the
video
Christmas show? And I know Francis was on that.
Tom was on there.
Because I recently watched that just a bit to see who it was before.
So the Christmas, what Christmas show was this?
Bingo Live Christmas show.
Diamond Bingo.
That was Diamond Bingo.
And
That was Francis.
Oh, it was Frank. Okay, so yeah, I wasn't a part of that. I was all the Kelsey Brady
Okay, I got one. What was it like meeting Nimrod, aka All Felt No Filter? Because I know you were on that stream and you met Marty there.
Yeah, he's a great guy. That guy's he's fun, and we message each other like not the puppet, obviously.
Yeah, not the puppet.
Because then I would be like, if the puppets message me, I'm not talking to it. You know. Yeah, no, we talk a lot and kind of share just little, how things are going because he's
Right. Yeah.
he's in the UK, so
Right.
it's kind of. I mean, that's what's so great about this media is that you can connect with people all around the world, and that was one thing. Yeah, All Felt No Filter. I didn't know what they were, but they would be like, we know who you guys are, so let's connect, let's talk, or whatever. And I'm like, who is this person? And then I was like, oh wait, I'm friends with him on Facebook, and I didn't know that was his show. Because that's happened to me before, where I've gotten messages from friends that go, have you ever seen the show Bird Call? You should check it out. And then I responded, I don't think it's for me. Yeah.
Oh my God.
Like, yeah, I mean, I'm kind of on.
Yeah.
I kind of created it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I kind of agree.
So I've heard. I'm thinking it was me, or I know Lucky was there one of Bingo's lives, but was it like an anniversary show? And I know
Yes.
I know he
Yes,
was there
JD.
for
That was
that's
it.
not an anniversary show, but what was he? Was he there for the anniversary show? I know.
Yes, he was.
Okay.
For,
Okay, then.
Luckle was in. It was at a live thing.
Anniversary.
Do you want me to ask
the 50th anniversary live stream that Matt Bingo made.
I was going to say, how did you meet Matt if you want to get to the question, JD? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. Sorry. What was ask me the question again?
I was just kidding. How did you meet Gavin Bingo?
How did I meet Matt Bing? I get and that's kind of what happens is like people will connect to the birds and stuff, and I always feel so bad because there's been times where people will message the account and they'll think they're talking to somebody else in the group, and we're like, oh no, sorry, that's that's somebody else, or and so I think that was what he was doing, and then he like reached out to me and was like, I don't know if I'm talking to you through this, but it was just very nice, and just was a big fan, so that was really nice. And he's asked me and Kelsey to kind of jump on, and the same thing like with like Toily, like Grant.
Yeah, Toily's awesome.
Toily's cool.
Yeah, so
Of course, it's not. Of course.
I hope
we
get the guy behind Toily on the future, because me and Jakey, Chris don't know who he is. Me and Jakey actually talked to Toily. I talked to him on apps, and Jakey talked to him on the TikTok live stream.
Yeah, Grant's a great guy. He's
Toily is.
Yeah, he's fun time. Yeah, and he's somebody else who I've known for a while, and his thing picked up, and we were doing our thing. And he's like, "Wow, that's crazy. We're all kind of doing the same thing." But yeah.
Well, of how big Toily is now, especially TikTok, and
I know. Yeah, he did a good job with.
Kind of reminds of how support was to Bird Call at the same time.
Yeah.
Yeah, and now they're making a Lufa puppet. That's for sale by Toily.
Yeah, I'm gonna say this, that since we're talking about Matt Bingo right now, Matt is one of those puppeteering people that I talk to a lot. He's a great guy, and I know you're gonna watch this, Max. I know. You've been a fan for 3.5 years now, and wow, long time. And for what they've done, like what where you are now, Matt, and if he's watching, oh man, that's crazy. Matt's a great guy. I just can't wait what's gonna happen with his stuff. That's especially if Bird Call's gonna be appearing more live streams.
Yeah, I know. We always get asked.
Matt's a cool guy. I talk to a lot.
Yeah, Jakey was actually recently part of his 19th anniversary.
Yeah. Okay. So, is there a favorite and funniest moment of Bird Call as a whole?
Yeah.
Like if my favorite moment we've done, like a funny moment from the show. I mean, there's so many things, and it's
Especially
always funny.
bloopers, one of those things too. That popular.
Well, that's that's always the hard part, is that you film these things and then you remember what happened below the camera or in between, and you can't remember what's on camera and what's So you can tell somebody, oh, this happened. They're like, I didn't see that. And you're like, oh yeah, that's right. That was just us. But I guess I may be one of my favorite. I have again. There's just so many. There's one of where Bingo Flamingo's in the shower because he snuck into the human's house, and he calls into the radio station because the psychiatrist is on, and he's in the shower and he's got this long cord, and me and Kelsey we're getting in the shower, and he's got this shower cap on, and I kept trying to we had to rig the phone to the wall, and Kelsey gets in to do my other hand, and she completely fell into the bathtub. We're like, okay, that's dedication. Honestly, yeah. So thankfully there's no water in the bathtub, but yeah, that part always makes me laugh. And it just, anytime I get to work with everybody in one room, that's I have the best time, because we did a lot of Christmas stuff one year, and we did 12 Days of Christmas, and Puppeteer Luke Gertis, who plays Mr. Chicker, in between takes was just being, it's in some of the bloopers where he's just being ridiculous. So
yeah, it's really amazing that Bird Call has so much characters, especially Frances. That she is a very, very sweet character. Of course, Tima's local. I'm probably the same as for everyone. I'm so glad that Puppeteer is what it is to the characters, that what the birds are to the show itself. That really, it's really positive so much. And I'm glad that for what it reminds me of Bear and Big Blue House and those shows, that I used to watch, from those times there. It's kind of sucks that kids shows now, it's not really kind of not that, but what it used to be.
Yeah.
But hey.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Hopefully it'll be another one like that in the future. Who knows, really?
Yeah, make something like from Bear and Blue House Company, make it good.
Right.
It would be the Henson Company is still around, I think.
Yeah. So I'm gonna say this of what appreciated what Bird Call was today. What is your thoughts about the fans, of what it was, especially what Bird Call was to fans so much, of how the way it was, of what Bird Call keeps on going, and what it is now. Especially 20 years next year.
Yeah. I think once people realized that we're a little more tangible to the fans, we do reach back out and stuff, and because I know I've seen plenty of situations where shows or celebrities or something where they do get so involved in what they're doing, and sometimes they kind of forget to kind of reach back out and know that's the reason why you're doing it. And I think that was always the big point for me starting it, was to say, I'm not doing that. I'm doing this, obviously, I'm doing it for me, but I'm also sharing this because I want people to enjoy it, and they really have, and they've responded well to it. And when somebody is negative about it, we just ignore it, and just kind of move on. But a lot of times people come to our defense. We don't ask for it, but they're almost like, you're just being a meanie. You're being a bully for no reason. And I'm just like, just let it go. It's not a big deal. So
people have different opinions. So.
Yeah, it's just very important to kind of keep that camaraderie. And there's times too, we've had people in the past where we kind of have to make sure to show there's the line of, I play Luckle, but I'm not him. I'm not really.
That's him.
Yeah. So, and it's hard sometimes to kind of help people know that juxtaposition of this is the character and these are the people that play it. But when they go home at night, they're probably, they're not still squawking and tweeting at home. I hope not. If they are, best of luck to their parents at that point.
Yeah, best of luck to their parents. It's like Barney. Barney season 1 got canceled. I don't know how long ago, and then they brought it back because something about the parents not being able to do stuff.
Yeah, how funding what the show was, and then it really helps the show, and then it has 14 seasons.
Yeah, and there was a pledge guide to get season 2.
That's what happens. That's yeah. It always does. It helps like when the fans are vocal, and I think that's something that fans have learned for many shows, any show really, is that when you see that there's a dedicated fan base to something, that the people higher up who are paying for it or putting in the money and investments, they see that, oh, there is an actual fan service there, so let's follow through with that, and that then takes the fans to follow through as well, to say we want this to be a thing, and then they make new things, and if they don't follow through, it's kind of like, ugh. But thankfully for us, you know, I run everything, so I am able to say, yeah, no, I can, you know, send a quick video or something. So yeah, that's important to us, honestly.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because one of the big. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
So what was your like your blessing thing about what all those years, but of what people are thinking about you and, you know, what being as puppeteer and all for all those on the team of what it is, and made more success of what we're talking about right now.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's funny, and I was going to say this earlier. We started doing so here in Orlando. We have at the Florida Hospital. There's the Walt Disney Pavilion.
Yeah.
They asked us to come and see kids in the hospital with the characters.
Oh wow!
And
oh my gosh, that reminds me of Barney hospital visits.
Yeah, that reminds me of Barney.
And so I went just with Luckle and just by myself, and then they were like, "Hey, could you do a little show?" And so we did little things, and then we started bringing more of the characters in, and then we split up as teams into different floors and just cover the whole hospital.
Wow.
And some of those days are emotionally exhausting because you're you know, you're seeing these kids in the worst situation possible, and we're able to just kind of bring joy to them for that day, and that to me is so important, and we miss doing that because, you know, with the pandemic and stuff, you can't really go in, and it's a whole different ball game now. But yeah, I just really enjoy doing that, and that I think is the blessing for me, is that we do get to connect with people one-on-one sometimes. You know, there was a girl who she had was in there for like a brain tumor situation, and I came in, and she just was so sweet and so bubbly because we were there, and she
of course, like that's her hero. That's her hero.
She was 5 years old and took the time to say thank you for letting me forget about, you know, this, and it was just, you know, it's heartwarming, and so you really are excited to kind of do that, because we're not there to promote ourselves, we're not there to go, hey, buy our album or something. You're really just there to have that connection, because the character, even if they don't know who the character is, we leave out of there and we had a nice moment with them, and that's all that's important.
Wow.
You know?
Your hospital story reminded me of the Kerry Simpson thing, because he went into a hospital place. Girl never talked for I don't know how long. Went in there,
2 years.
She saw Barney and she talked.
Oh yeah. Oh, that happens.
That's Barney magic right there.
Yeah.
We had my cousin. My cousin came down to Disney. We saw Bear in the Big Blue House, and you know, he was autistic. He's autistic, and he could only speak through sign language, right? And he grew up loving Bear, and we were able to get Bear and Trilo. We got them all to come out. Just magic how to do that.
Wow.
And, but he actually responded to Bear. That was the first time he like really said anything.
Wow.
And so, and it was, you know, it was my family, you know, so that was great to see that. And I made sure to let Noel know that happened. Like, Bear is still important to people, you know, so it's
and Noel's
so many other characters.
Noel's great with that kind of stuff, because he had like the Show Me show, and
he
was on Sprout.
The show.
He has like a nice show host for a little short time before, until Nina was.
Yeah, when he started the Show Me show, he called me and asked like, "Hey, would you do a bird call segment for us?"
Wow.
Yeah, so we shot. It was about. I think it was about feathers. I think it was about feathers. And he's like, "Of course, I'm going to ask you guys to do this." So.
Yeah. Wow.
It's been it's a little long time since we last show content, but of course it was happened during this time. But of course when it's a little more normal, then I know Noah can do stuff that should be show.
Yeah, hopefully once the
Bear's
pandemic slows down, he gets back to doing it.
Bear's kind of still around because no one knows going on TikTok now.
But yeah,
Oh yeah, true.
Yeah.
Or it's basically, who knows?
it's huge
you know,
on TikTok.
Yeah. So I'm not sure if I know this, but was Loco and Bingo Flamingo ever like was together for something for Burkall?
Appeared together.
Yeah, it's almost like the Fozzie and Piggy situation. You're like, you can never really have them in the same room,
Right. Yeah.
To me, I've purposely almost made it that Luckle almost doesn't know who Bingo is on purpose.
Gosh.
Yeah, who's this guy out here? But I think the big thing is the one time they really interacted was it's Luckles doing the tour of the radio station.
Oh,
Right. Yeah.
What was that for both of them? For them together, and as well the tour as well.
Yeah, so that was like the first time they're really together, and he does know who he is in that because he's doing the tour of the show, right? And
Right.
But during the road, both of them are good together, and of course, Burkall, everything's positive that was scoring. So
and it worked out. So
that's
and
awesome.
I threw a funny line in where Bingo's trying to get himself introduced, and Luckle's like, "We don't have time," and he's like, "Anyway," and Bingo keeps going, and Luckle says, "I just feel like I'm talking to myself at this point," and that was it, right?
Oh my gosh.
And so if people knew I played both, it was funny, and if they didn't, it was still funny because Luckle's just frustrated, So it's kind of a two in one little joke. So yeah, I think it's the only time they really interacted.
That's awesome.
Yeah. What was it came with Bingo Flamingo anyway?
Wait, say it again.
So like, what was think of the name Bingo Flamingo anyway?
Yeah, how'd you come up with the name for the character?
Okay, I know you named so much other characters because of Burkall and Loco and the whole team ideas, but but just really for Bingo Flamingo, really.
Mm-hmm.
I think because it kind of rhymed.
Yeah. It does.
That makes sense. There's a Flamingo was his name, and then you just wanted to do like a Flamingo.
Yeah.
Animal. Flamingo. That's kind of like one, and then boom, there you go. That's a character right there.
That's the answer anybody's ever given on the podcast.
Right?
Yeah.
Right there. So at this moment, I'm thinking we're almost wrapping up. Before we're going to for the last parts. Is Loco?
Wait, Jakey has a request. If you're up to it.
I think that's what you were about to say.
Yeah, Jakey has a request. Go ahead and say it, Jakey.
Oh, he has a request. Right.
Before I even say that.
Yes, he's on. There you go.
Oh, there he is.
The question is Loco.
I know it.
Yes.
I don't even say. I don't need to say.
Yes.
Hi, Loco.
Hello.
Hello. Good to see you, humans. It's good. It's a very dark office. The lighting was better.
Oh boy.
I was terrified.
How's yourself?
I'm pretty good. I think I'm pretty good.
Really awesome, man. We just talked about you earlier.
Yeah.
Well, of course. I mean, you can't go a day without thinking about this Dodoramius,
Yeah, I can.
Yeah, nice seeing you.
Oh, it's good to see you. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
My pleasure.
Yes.
You're welcome.
I'm only here by association. Let's be real. Yeah.
Yeah.
There you go.
This guy gets all the credit, and I'm like, hello. I have to share the screen with him sometimes these days. We did a whole musical, and he just kept following me around. I said, look, this is my show. And he said, well, I wrote it. And I said, really? That's cute. And I said, well, I'm singing the songs. He said, I wrote those too.
Oh my god.
Oh boy.
Anyway.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah, that's really awesome. Yeah. Before we of course, you say I hear I know Alex and Matt Bingo want to say hi to you. By the way,
Who am I saying hello to?
Alex and that you mentioned on
Matt Bingle.
being agreeing to me and Matt Bingo, because I know he's a big fan.
Alex
Sure.
and Matt think. Alex and Matt. Okay. What should I say? Should I say anything?
Up to you.
Up to you, really. Up to you.
Should it be pertinent, or should it just kind of be blasé, like, oh hey, it's good to see you again, or should it
Perfect.
be a little more like, hola, welcome?
Perfect.
I don't really mind, to be honest.
Up to you.
I'll go with hello, Alex, and I'm glad you're watching and listening to this, because you're so lucky that I am. I'm saying hello to you. I know, what an honor, right? And then Matt Bingle, Matt Bingle tried to show up and poop on his car. It was weird. I said, you're not a bird. He said, but you said I'm an honorary bird. I said, you can't poop on people's cars. That's my thing. The world is my toilet.
I'm gonna take that was made. So I'm being accepted.
He's gonna watch this and say, no, I didn't.
The nerve.
Yeah.
Can you
Yeah,
believe it?
yeah.
I couldn't believe it, but it is what it is. He did what
Yeah.
he did. Ugh.
Yeah.
Hopefully they enjoy that greeting.
That's so awesome that Burke
Matt's
calls
gonna
so
watch
much.
this
How
and be like, no,
much?
I did not do that thing.
But yeah, it's so awesome that Burke call like fans so you so much that's your favorite. Nobody say about Burke call but except you. That's how really you are, really. So
yes, I'm a new
Really-
fan, and I think you're just
really-
awesome, Local.
Oh, well, thank you so much, Chris. I
You
really
are.
appreciate it. Chris,
Yeah.
I
You're
like
welcome.
your full name. It's a I see it here on the Chris Bixby.
Yeah, that's
It sounds like you're a private eye. Like,
There you go.
you come in the room, you go, Chris Bixby. That's what I think you should. Buy a trench coat, get you a fedora, boom.
yeah.
that's
There you
go
go.
right there.
I'll take the advice.
Right there.
Yeah.
Next episode will be the trench coats.
Yeah, but yeah, Alex and Matt Bingo, of course, Matt Bingo, because he's been a fan for Burke for 3.5 years now, and I know he's really much to Burke, especially that he has the Burke the musical
you're saying
CD covered. I know he really likes it so much, and I know for Alex too, which both of my friends and who likes Burke so thank you so much for saying hi to them, and you say hi to all the fans who knows.
Yes, of course.
It's gonna take take it 24/7 to get their names. Nice seeing you, Local.
Thank you
Nice
so
seeing
much.
you.
I appreciate it.
Yes.
Yes.
You're welcome. Oh, and the guy right here.
Yes, the guy right here. he pays for everything, so that's okay. I'll keep him around.
Hope you do have a squawky day for you, Local.
Yeah, thank you so much. I'm going to fly over
Welcome.
here now.
All right,
See ya.
see you, Local.
Have a
Have fun,
squawky
have
day.
fun, and squawk day. Bye, see you, Local.
That's awesome.
What a great,
That's awesome.
what a great character he is. What a great
Yes.
character.
Also, Jakey, I think Chris should ask some questions. He hasn't asked much.
Of
So-
course, Chris.
Well, so since we're gonna wrap up soon, how, like, if anyone wants to contact you, like, how can people find you or find Bird Call in general?
We are on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok at Bird Call Radio. Then we have our website, birdcallradio.com. We have Facebook, ready? Bird Call Radio.
Yep.
Every single thing is per call.
Oh, it's Burke Radio.
Always
And
Bird Call.
what about yourself?
We'll put the links in the description.
Yep.
Oh, I'm on Instagram, and it's CalPal910.
No worries. It's going to be in the description, so you guys can
Yep.
follow. So,
Yeah.
Would you like to say anything to your fans? Because we always do this. Jakey interrupts it.
or who wants to be a puppeteer?
Yeah, any advice?
Any advice for anyone who wants to, like, get into puppeteering?
Basically, what you
or
do
acting.
and what people want to do like you.
Yeah, I think the big thing is a lot of self-practice, right? And learning stamina of keeping your arm up over your head for a long time.
Yeah.
Like we just did this Christmas parade last year, and we were in this giant tree, this like felt Christmas tree that we made. And we were up for like an hour. So it was a lot. And I was at the top of the tree with Uncle, like, why did I do that? Oh my God. Yeah. And thankfully it was to a track, so our voices were pre-recorded, so we just had to lip sync. But little things like that are always important, and listening to music and finding a song that you know very well. That's always in front of a mirror, just with your hand, and just kind of learn what the lip sync is as you go along, because you'll come into workshops. Like if I teach a Disney puppet workshop, like with Muppets or something, it's a big difference because people come in with what they already know on their own, and then they're going to come and learn a new style, and it's completely different. And it's there's some people who, like, I know myself, I'm very like sharp with my movements. Someone like Scott Hune, who plays Fal Al, is a little more fluid with his movements in his puppetry. So everybody has their own style, and it's never technically like you're wrong. It's you have your way of doing it. But when you are playing a character, for instance, if you want to create your own character and make sure that they, their walk, the way they look, the way they, vocally, the way they sound. And it's not so much too with a puppet character that it's so important that they have to have a funny voice, because like Luckel's voice is just my voice higher, a little gravelly here and there, but it all depends on, Luckel has his laugh where he just kind of will every now and then.
Yeah, basically.
Where, and that's just something that's about him. Yeah. Same thing with Kelsey. She plays Francis. She's got her little giggles and stuff, and it's not so much about, it's all about the presence of the character. So so definitely thinking about that if you want to be a puppeteer. That's a big
Why don't you be on The Masked Singer next? Because Matt Vogel was on it last season. You did good. There's your opportunity.
That'd be great.
Right. That's really awesome how much puppeteers can give, especially during this pandemic. So I really appreciate for you saying about what people can get to. So I really appreciate the spread and everything. So yeah, thank you so much for having you on our show. And,
yeah, it's been lots of fun.
If you come back, maybe we get you and Matt or something. Or Nimrod. Nimrod needs to come on.
Oh yeah.
Get the two of you together.
And the person who do all the credit to Francis, basically that person, and you.
Or we'll get Tyler Bunch on. Tyler Bunch on. Tyler Bunch will do it.
I'll give Kelsey a cameo right now. There she is.
There you go.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Her cameo.
We'll have you and Tyler Bunch on. That'd be insane.
Yeah.
And I know she's a great person, especially what Francis to them.
Oh yeah,
I'm not gonna say more.
New character coming too, so that's the big one.
Francis is a good character, so special. So yeah, thank you so much for having our show, Calvin, and I hope what's happening with Burkle. Keep up with great work. Same as to Luckle and everyone else, and can't wait for them and yourself and Luckle as what's going to happen for Leon for the future for Burkle and what else you're doing, and not just from Burkle. And so keep up your great work.
Thank you. It was an honor to be here with you guys too. I really enjoyed our time together.
Yes. Our squawky time.
Yeah. Yeah.
I have to point that out. Thank you so much, guys, for watching. We appreciate the support, and all I'm gonna say this. Thank you so much for watching. What Burkle was to
all of us.
Most of you, and can't wait for what you guys see for more episodes to come. And thanks so much for watching. Hope you have a squawky day, and see you all next time for a new episode. And
squawk
for Wyatt, Chris, Calvin, and me. See you next time for another episode. See ya.
Squawk.
Yeah.
See you next time for another episode of Jake's Happy Nostalgia Show. See you again soon. Bye bye.